welcome back. I hope you had a good lunch, dinner, breakfast, coffee, whatever time of the day it is for you. Of course, people joining us from over 120 countries at this year's Global Excel Summit. Well, joining us next is Stephan. He is the CEO of AirRange, and I am so excited for this. I've always wanted to create my own app based on one of my numerous Excel workbooks, one of my numerous Excel sheets. Thought, oh man, I wish this could be an application. And Stephan's rather is going to show us how we can do that using no-code front ends. So that's very cool as well. So don't get bogged down by code. Don't get intimidated. Stephan's going to show us how it's all done. Stephan, over to you.
Thanks a lot. Hi, thanks for watching. I'm Stephan from AirRange, and at AirRange, everything is about sharing data from your workbooks. So if it's a single worksheet that you would like to share, or cell range, or a Kanban app based on a table, or even in this case, a calculation app based on input variables and output variables, where you have sliders and something like that. So during the next few minutes, I wanted to show you a few examples. And at the end, let's build one of them together. But first, let's start with a few slides, so 3 or 4 slides, and then I'm going into demo mode. So can you please switch? Perfect. So how to use Excel as a no-code app builder. Oops. It's a perfect fit. So if you think about spreadsheets, spreadsheets are a programming language. It means if this, then else. So it's I think, the biggest scripting language in the world. And if you look at the numbers, if you compare 800 million Excel users versus 60 million from JavaScript, so this is a really huge force. So 800 million active Excel users compared to 160 million Google Sheet users. I think the biggest thing is, I found this in Wall Street Journal, MS Excel usage increases every year by 30%. So wow. So building for all of you, normally building solutions is no problem. So what we found out, and that's why we care about sharing, is collaborating and sharing inside Excel. That's the problem. So so this is my personal thesis. Excel is mostly a single user tool. Of course, there are all these great collaboration features, but in the end, there's this Excel creator and he's building something. And in my experience, no one understands what these people are doing. And so everyone else is just a guest. So overwriting formulas and so on. I think you all know these problems, version hell, the overwritten formulas sending out of Excel with emails. And of course, you cannot build really cool web user interfaces. Of course, there are some people here that they build amazing stuff, but it's just their knowledge. And so there are no user interfaces and apps. And whenever you give away your spreadsheet, you give away your whole IP. So one of our customers told me he's building apps for the insurance enterprise. Every time I give them my spreadsheet, my IP is gone. So he couldn't monetize on that. And now using our solution, he's building apps, and now he's selling monthly subscriptions to the sales team with his solution. So that's great. And the biggest problem also from sharing and collaboration thing is Excel is always everything. That means if you invite someone to your workbook, he sees everything. And so this granular sharing aspect is also one of our big solutions that we have. So our solution is, why not add new front ends for collaboration? That means, of course, the Excel Pro, they need to work with Excel. But when they share data with the sales guys or something like that, we need new interfaces that are on top of that. It means not a replacement, it's on top. This is exactly what we are doing. It means AirRange is putting an app layer on top of your spreadsheet. These solutions can be live connected. So you have Kanban views, grids. We have these kind of calculator with sliders. This is what I'm building together with you. Wonderful. Now let's go into demo mode. So I'm switching off my presentation and just move over to a few examples. Sorry. Let me show you one Excel. So this is an Excel example where you have some input and output variables. You have some results here. You have a chart. You have tables with conditional formats. And if I open an app that I've built based on that, you will see it looks totally different. So right now we have a few sliders. Perhaps you recognize the chart. It means we simply grabbed it. Perhaps you recognize the tables with the conditional formats. We grabbed it because you already did the job. And this is something that we do at Arrange. Once you build an app, a solution into Excel, you can put an app on top of that that just uses the stuff that you were using here. So this slider is connected to a cell. Whenever I change the slider, it puts back the value to this linked cell and recalculates everything. So very easy solution. These solutions also can be responsive. That means you can use it on a mobile phone. Now you've seen we arranged it in one column, or if you have more space here, you can share these apps as a link, as a QR code. You can embed it on websites, whatever. The second example that I have is a little bit more complicated. This is from this insurance guy. So it's based on 10,000s of formulas. That means really huge. It's an insurance tariff comparison thing. I mean, it's also a little bit responsive. That means people are using it on their phones. And here you can compare one insurance tariff versus the other. And you can see everything is dynamic. You can show and hide stuff. In this example, the sales guy is building a comparison, and if the customer wants to see differences, it generates all the different things. And at the end, you can print this stuff because we are simply grabbing the print area that's defined in the workbook. Now you have a wonderful printout for that. So I think you get the idea. So once you did something in Excel, you can use it with Arrange as an app, or turn it into an app that you can share with everyone as a QR code or a link or wherever. Wonderful. Let me jump to another solution before I start creating such an app. So it's about sharing ranges. So this is our portal. Here you can, so we are in Microsoft 365. I'm logged in with Microsoft 365. I can select my files for my OneDrive, for my SharePoint. I have my favorites here, or you can select a local file. And let's jump into one workbook. It's the finance plan. And what we do is we build an inventory for you. As you can see, here's a list of all the named ranges, a list of all the worksheets, the tables, all the charts, and you can share every item separately if you want to, and track it, whatever. And of course, you can share a single worksheet, or in this case, in this example, perhaps a range, a cell range. And here you can see I have this cell range. This is fully functional. I've added some text. And now what's happening, I'm not sharing the full workbook anymore. I'm sharing simply a range that's fully functional. That means if this guy is adding some changes, you can see it still calculates. It calculates with the full power of the worksheet or workbook. It means even if this change triggers something on tab 22, the thing will work. And now I can send out something like that. This guy can work on that. Once he's ready, he can submit his changes and done. So this is what we are doing. That means you have a workbook. You have this all put together, and then you can create new user interfaces that to collaborate with someone else. Okay, now I promised you we build an app together. So building an app is relatively easy. So here we have the app section, and what I can do now here is let's press on add. you get an empty app building area, and on the right side you have this toolbox with rich text, results, charts, and so on. What I would build here is a live app. That means this app will be live connected. That means it's always online, and it works with your workbook on SharePoint or OneDrive. You can use our template. So if you want to have a dashboard app with OnePress, we're building an app for you with all your charts. Now you can rearrange, perhaps put some sliders in, and so on. But I want to show you how you can build apps instantly without logging into our system. And because we added an anonymous mode a few weeks ago. So let me jump over to our website here. So, and start for free. If you go to our website and you press the start for free button, then you land on this login page. And if you want to have the full access to OneDrive and SharePoint, you go to the left button. Or if you just want to play around, we call it our playground, you press on use a local file. So OnePress, no login, nothing is sent to a cloud or something. So it's just in the memory of your browser. So you can throw in an Excel workbook here. You can have a look at the onboarding videos, or you simply, this is a very good place to start, our example workbook. So let's click here. And you see this is the same workbook as I started. And now I want to create a new app. So create a new app here. Okay, it's empty. So let's add a rich text. Rich text is, you can insert images, video, whatever you want. It's HTML. You can add tables, whatever you want to. Now I want to add a slider and perhaps a result field. Wonderful. The slider, of course, has no function right now, no functionality. We need to link it to the spreadsheet. So, and this is here, workbook connection. So all I have to do is select the cell. So let's do it here with the starting ARR. Use the selection. Perhaps starting ARR. You can set some settings like use edit buttons, tooltips, the stepping, the maximum, minimum value. You can also add visibility. That means you can show and hide elements based on the structure of the actual calculation, but not right now. Now let's link the result here. Enter cell reference. Now let's use this total here. Use selection. Of course, you can also select some styling templates. Okay, now let's save. So it's a very easy app, but now I have an app with a slider that calculates with the full power of your workbook. So, okay, now let's add a chart. The system knows all your charts. So in this workbook, there's only one, so it's easy. Now let's grab it. That means we support every chart that you have in this mode, because we are just grabbing it from your workbook. Oops, sorry. Save and start. So whenever I do a change, you see it reacts. And yeah, wonderful. So now let's add a table component. So, and let's add this. Oh, sorry, and let's add this table here. Use the selection, and here you can see. Let's save and run this demo. Okay, table is here. The data is changing, but we're missing the conditional formats. So go back. And right now, use conditional formats from cell. That's fine. Save it. And I'm here. So I think you get the idea. It means building apps is so easy because you already did the job in your workbook. And of course, once you're ready, you could share it, give it a title. You can also say, okay, this app should only be valid until next week. You can share it with individual people, or you can share it with public. With the public, that means it's no login required. Can add a password, something like that. But it's not so good looking. So it's one column. So let's jump over to the prepared example that we have. So I'm deleting this one and now jumping into this one. So this is the full example that I've shown you a few minutes ago. And here you can see I have the different columns. I have added a button and something like a grouping. So let's have a look at that. Yeah, so here we have a group. So we have a 2-column, 3-column, 4-column group. This is a 3-column group, and you can define how the look and feel should be in small or normal mode. So in normal mode, let's have a look. It's 3 columns, and in smartphone mode, hey, let's use these 3 things below each other. And let's have a look. This is exactly what's happening here. The same here. We have a 2-column group, and when it's like that, it's okay. Let's have a look at this print button. This print button is also the styling, and there's an on-click thing here. And on-click, it should print the page table 1. So it's not good looking, but let's have a look. Print the scenario. Wonderful. So this is the workbook. If you would have defined a really cool, good looking print setting, of course, we would use this. So I think you get the idea how to build apps. So now let's share this one. This evaluation. Let's do this in public and get a public link. So now it's ready. This is the link. You can copy it, or you can integrate it in a website. It's an iframe, or just share this QR code. Wonderful. Let me have a check. Perfect. So I think I have a few minutes left. That's why I'm going back to my presentation here. As you can see, what Arrange is doing is you can share every asset inside your workbook, still connected, but without the complexity of the full workbook. So it's much easier to get a task when you don't figure through a 20 tab workbook. And you can build web apps based on input and output variables. So very easy. We simply grab what you already have inside your spreadsheet. And that's why Excel is turning into a no-code app platform. So every one of you is a citizen developer who can build applications that they can share with others. In about 2 or 3 months, we will also add a monetization engine. It means then you can share apps with a paywall. That means people can play around with 1, 2, 3 days, and after that you can put up a paywall where you can monetize on your knowledge of your brand and so on. If you look at this, this is also an app. But it's a table app. It's a grid. You can also build Kanban or calendar apps. So it's always the same story. That means you have something in your workbook. You put on a new user interface and share it with others, but keeping control of this data. Yeah, that's it. So thanks a lot for watching. Matthew, do we have something for Q&A?
We definitely do. We definitely do. Sure, that was amazing. I will say, Stephan, one of the questions that came through was do you have a booth? Because Eric has 100 questions just for himself. So if people do want to contact you, do you have a booth? How can people contact you afterwards?
Absolutely. We have a booth. Just go into ask your questions. And on Arrange IO, we have also a chat functionality. That means simply ask us every question that you have.
Awesome. Although this is the Global Excel Summit, somebody did ask, can this be used for Google Sheets?
Yes, yes, but it's not live right now. So it's in the last quality circus. So Google Sheet and Excel. And for Excel, it's also, we have two modes. It's the offline mode and it's an online mode. It means you can build an app that's always linked to your live workbook, and you can build apps that are offline. That means we have a reduced browser engine. We are using the same for the Google Sheets stuff, an Excel engine that's in the memory of your browser. And it's not 100% compatible, but it's awesomely fast. And you can build apps for millions of people.
Great. Laura asks an interesting question, says, if it's integrated in a website and someone changes the inputs, the core Excel workbook won't be saved, right?
Yeah. So it's inside a session. That means if you do a live, an online calculation on the back end, so it's all based on Microsoft 365. The Microsoft 365 engine throws up a new session, and everything you do is inside the session. So in this case, we are simply using the rules inside your workbook. But if you have a Kanban or a range, then we're writing back. So it's just, but normally if you have 100 people working on your calculator, you don't want to interact in one workbook.
Absolutely. Two more questions. I think Pete already sees $signs. So Pete says licensing with about 5 question marks. I think people are already seeing $signs for themselves. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So actually, we're in early access mode. That means so everything is free. We're thinking about pricing every day. So actually, it's a per user per month subscription fee, about €9 per month. And we also think about publishing license. So if you wanted to publish it to 100 people, to 1 million people, so there will be different prices, and
licensing for him. I think maybe that was the question. Could Pete license his app to somebody?
Yeah, this is what I meant. So in about 2 or 3 months, we will add a monetization engine. It means then you can put a price tag on your app and share it with someone else. So we have a trial period, so you can say, okay, it should be free for 1 day or 2 days, and after that you get a paywall. Or you can say, hey, paywall instantly, and then you earn money, and we get a little bit a small fee based on that.
Pete, don't forget me. I feel like I was involved in this deal. I asked the question on your behalf, so don't forget me when you're making billions. Okay, a lot more questions. 2 more questions, maybe. The second last one, Carolina asks, does the app work in Android and iPhone?
Yeah, it works great. So Android and iPhone, and because it's a web app, you can also save this app to your home screen. So it's very efficient. That means it's just one click and it works.
Fantastic. And then Andy asked, are there guidance instructions for using AirRange online?
Yeah, there are some onboarding videos, but of course we are in early access mode. We know not everything is perfect right now. So if there if there's something missing, there's always this live chat. That means feel free, go to the live chat and ask questions, and we try to answer it very, very fast.
Okay, great. Maybe final question from Justice is, please, is the app dynamic? Does it automatically update when there is a change in the source file?
Yes, yes and no, because normally, if you build an app based on the online file, it's always live. That means if you change something, it's reflected in the app. But in most cases, you don't want to do that, because think about a calculator version 1, and then you're working on version 2, and you don't want people to get disturbed by your changes. And that's why you can then build a cached app. That means once you're ready with version 1, you will say, okay, now press a button, version 1, then you can, people can work on that and can use it, and you work on release 2. And once you're ready with release 2, you press a button, say, okay, next release live. So you can have both worlds. But if you have a calculator that should be really live, you can do this instantly.
Okay, one final question. I know people are saying that questions just keep coming. Pete has confirmed, by the way, that I'm in the deal with him. So Pete's like, he's legal soon. But Patrick says, does it play nice with named ranges and dynamic arrays?
Yes, yes. So we have, I had one example where we shared a named range, and of course this works. And inside the app, we're when you run the app, we are translating all the names into the cell ranges. So if you build an app and it's this, that's a good structure, build it on names, then you can move around your stuff and the app won't break.
Yeah, some interesting questions. I see Elena says we've got a couple more minutes. So two more questions. Laura says, if they wanted the user to be able to save the input, for example, a budgeting app, an option of seeing the new input in the Excel later, is that possible?
No, not right now, but of course it's on the roadmap. That means you're building the scenarios, and then later you can switch between these scenarios. Not yet, but these are exactly the input that we like. So what's important for the users out there, and
you're getting it all now, that's for sure. This is a great test market for you. Pete says, thanks, Andy. Matthew definitely takes 70% of my profits. And can we then turn off access? Will that be done through our own e-commerce platform or AirRange?
I don't know if I understand it right. What means turn off access?
I think Pete's asking if they created an app that was being provided and maybe being paid for by their users through licensing to their users, could they switch off access to maybe a user who's not paying anymore?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So normally you say when we release this functionality, you can say, okay, this is my app. I've created this. This is the invitation, and I want to link it to pricing 2 or pricing 3. And then you say, I want to charge monthly, weekly, yearly, and then we go through a Stripe thing of payment wall. And once this guy hasn't licensed the next month again, he's cut off. If you want to.
Yeah. That's it. I think definitely a few more questions coming through, Stephan. So as you say, you're in testing at the moment. You've got definitely a few volunteers, and yeah, people already dictating what your roadmap should look like, which is great. And Stephan, of course, you'll be in your booth, right? So if anybody has any more questions, can come and ask you questions in the booth.
Absolutely, in the booth or on the website in the live chat. So this will also be there in a few days.
Fantastic. All right, well, everybody, that was Stephan. Thank you so much from AirRange. Really
Thanks a lot.
We'll see you back for the next talk in half an hour from Matthew Bernath and Pete Burns, Excel Solutions and Add-ins. We'll see you then. Have a good break.